up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoint Media Club. Today we are discussing Loki, episode 2. With me, we have Austin J. Ernst.
That's me. Hello. Hi.
And no longer friend of the show, but an official part of Waypoint, Leanne Jass.
Hi.
How's it
I'm
feel?
so excited.
How's it feel to be out of the friend zone?
It's very. It had a higher effect on my serotonin levels than I'm necessarily pleased to admit.
Oh my god, you were
I was
sick.
very excited.
It was long
Yeah.
overdue.
It
long
was.
overdue.
Oh, I appreciate that. Like, yeah, I don't want to get mushy, so.
Go for it. Why not?
Because
It's
we don't have
just, I don't know,
time. That's
you guys,
why.
yeah.
We'll talk about it on like the regular Waypoint podcast, but let's get it. Episode 2 of Loki. What did you guys think? Base thoughts.
Lady Loki, I think I called it. I mean, we could be wrong. Like before we were recording there, and you brought up it could be Enchantress. We can get into that like throughout the episode, but regardless, I'm saying I was right. I don't care what y'all say. Lady Loki, I called it. I don't give a damn.
Yeah. I love this show. I love it so much. It just like
Yeah, it's
hits
really good.
all the beats for me.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm into all of this. I also like sophomore year of high school, Aaron would hate me right now that I'm this into like Loki as a character.
But
But I love
sophomore
it.
Leanne hadn't seen Ragnarok.
No.
I'm.
I
Oh, go ahead.
still listen to the propaganda that the Thor movies are bad and they're not, and like it took me until like 2 years ago to accept that.
Yeah.
That they're bad.
No, that they're great. They're really good.
Are they?
I really like them.
All right, cool. That's a
What
hot
I'm
take.
enjoying about
That's
the
a hot
show-
take.
What I'm enjoying about the show so far is that like it's
Owen
not
Wilson.
like, and I get WandaVision. The whole point was, okay, we're gonna tease you. You guys are supposed to try to figure out. But Loki's like, no, we're just getting right into it. Like this was a big event to end the episode on, seeing all the branches happen at once, and we're just getting right into it. And think about it, we're now a third through the show because it's only 6 episodes.
8 episodes, isn't it?
No, I think it's 6. Could be wrong.
No, I
I
think
mean, they've
this
lied
one's
before
6.
and then changed it on the fly, so who knows?
Yeah.
They also originally said it was going to be a mini-series, and then like a month ago, we're like, we're already filming season 2, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty sure it's 6. So this is like we're a third of the way through. This is basically we're now in the first act, and we left with the timeline splitting into like a bunch of branches, and I think the timekeeper, or not timekeepers, the TVA think Loki betrayed them rather than he was chasing after the other Loki. So
Yeah, I
he's
really
in an
enjoyed that
interesting spot
angle.
too. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that angle where it's like it never really looked. It wasn't clear to Owen Wilson's character Morbius. I don't remember if it's Morbius or Mobius.
Mobius.
Okay.
Mobius.
I get Morpheus fused into that name a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Morbius sounds cool too. Whatever. Let's roll with it. It's gonna be Morbius and Mobius throughout the entire cast of this podcast. So, yeah, it was never very clear to them what he did. He just kind of they catch up to him and he goes through the portal or whatever the heck that thing is, and I like that angle a lot.
Yeah.
I also don't exactly know how Lady Loki or whoever that is, did she rewire these devices to work in a different way? Because those things themselves don't cause a like separate timeline or whatever, right? Don't they erase timelines?
I think
Yeah,
they're
I was
there
a
to
li-
reset.
Yeah, so I mean, if she hit that button, wouldn't it just reset nothing? Because there was nothing in that timeline besides her. So if she set all those off there, like I don't understand how she activated all these devices to go into a different timeline and create a
Yeah,
different timeline.
That's the thing, is them dropping out of the world, going through their own portals into a world that like an area we weren't in. I was confused on how we got there.
To me, it almost seems like she's getting help from someone in the TVA.
Well, they said
That's what
that
it feels like to me.
they said that she has been kind of like, because she's always one step ahead of them. Every time they go after her and they're ready to reset it, she steals the thing. But
Yeah.
then are they just going back to where they would have had to reset anyway? Or are they going back there in real time, so it's happening like way later?
I have no
That's
idea.
the thing.
In my mind, she has help from the TVA, and she like rewired these devices to do something different than their usual purpose.
My
But I
entire
don't
take
know why.
Sorry. My entire takeaway from this episode was fuck the TVA. The TVA is stupid. I don't trust anyone but Mobius. He's the only one in the TVA I trust. Especially I had a late night epiphany about a week ago on why I remembered like the judge's like why the judge's name last week sounded familiar to me. She marries Kang the Conqueror in the comics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
I realized that after we stopped recording last time.
like yeah, like I don't trust it. Originally, I thought Austin was being like a little out there, being like I think one of the faces behind the judge is Kang. Now I'm like fully in. I'm like yes, Austin is correct.
I
Like,
looked at it, and yeah, one of them does kind of look like Kang.
It's probably not, honestly, but I feel like they definitely put them there for a reason.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
they're not placed there for the fun of it. I also
I
just
did
want to add. I just want to add
Go
real
ahead.
quick that you said you don't trust the TVA. I put the longer we go, the more I think the timekeepers are bullshit. Like I think the timekeepers are like I don't think they have any idea what they're doing.
No. Yeah, I literally wrote the TVA is dumb, and as I wrote that, Loki called them 3 magic lizards, and I was like, this is my new insult, my new description. It's just like I love the 3 magic lizards
Well,
comment.
we haven't seen how they're going to interfere yet, so it is possible that now this is so big that they have to be like, oh, like this is big enough that we have to get involved and keep this shit together.
And I say really quick, I would like to see a fight between whoever this blonde woman in, Lady Loki, whoever she is, and Loki set to I Need a Hero, because they teased me with it at the beginning of the episode, and now this is something I would like. I just want to see Loki fight to I Need a Hero.
I took that as it meaning to Lady Loki, she is the hero.
Yeah.
Like I thought that song was purposely put in this scene because I mean I guess that's kind of like what every bad guy kind of feels like. Oh, this is my story, blah blah blah. But I feel like there's something more to it in that case.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't know her motivations yet, or maybe she is just doing this for the chaos. I mean, I like the song. I didn't enjoy the scene because it was just way too dark for some reason.
It was an odd scene, in my opinion, but it did make me want a better scene
Yeah,
with that
I
song.
mean, I was
agree
also
with Leanne.
watching it in the morning, and my TV was getting a lot of glare. But like, fuck, it was just I couldn't see shit. Yeah.
I liked the subtle dig at how popular Renaissance fairs became in the 80s, and that woman being like, some of us need this. And I was like, oh, okay.
I just-
okay, man.
I also
really
like
like
how
the-
she's mad that they're not dressed for it, as if like, ma'am, these might be the SWAT team. Like, do you want them to show up in character if someone's about to like shoot the place up?
Bring a
Yes.
giant mace or whatever.
Yeah.
I also like Mobius mentioning the jet ski. his like appreciation for jet skis, and this is totally going to end with him on a jet ski. I just know it.
It
now.
is, and it's going to be very pure. And I'm
I hope
liking
so.
the little friendship
Or-
that him and Loki are forming.
Yeah, I love the buddy cop ish kind of.
Yeah, it has a
thing
little
that's
bit of
going
that vibe.
And
Lo-
I
Lo- oh, go ahead.
fun. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I loved Loki fucking up his salad. Where it's just like, don't
Yeah.
do that, man.
It was also a terrible metaphor. Like, what do you see here? I see. What is that? What are you doing? I wanted that.
Yeah.
But I can also see this ending with like whoever is left, because I can see a lot of people dying in this. Like to save a timeline, I can see whoever's left riding off on a jet ski in like memory of Mobius. I feel like
That's also
Mobius is gonna
true.
die. He's too cool of a character that to leave in the MCU and not utilize again, so they're gonna kill him.
Oh,
Calling it
God,
now.
I hope not.
This scene, though, brought up a question for me. Did Mobius, whatever the fuck his name is,
Owen Wilson.
did he just pop out an old man? Like, I think this is something I was a little confused about, where I thought that, like, the people working for the TVA were humans that, like, volunteered to work for the TVA and, like, gave up their lives on Earth to be there. And then he started saying stuff in the episode that they were, like, created to do this. And so, like, yes, Austin, go ahead. Cut me off. I have no idea.
I took that as they're all variants, and they got mind wiped.
Oh, okay.
But if they were mind wiped, they wouldn't know that. But maybe there's some like subtle thing in the back of their head where it's like, I was created for this. You know what I mean? Like they can't rationalize what that purpose or what that beginning is. So that's just what they all kind of phrase or coin the term of what it is. But yeah, I took that as they're all variants that went bad or whatever. I mean, variants are bad to begin with. That's why they're variants. But you know what I mean?
I always
I'd be down with that.
I took it as just like you had to accept that people work for the TVA, and I thought that maybe each of them are not necessarily powerful in their own sense, but they are beings that are not in time, but they just appear as human for whatever reason. And then Loki said that they were created by the timekeeper. I was like, wait, what the fuck now? Like in a lab, asexually, regular sexually? I don't know.
We not? Can we have one show where I don't have to think about how somebody in the Marvel universe fucks? Like, I just want one. I
Hey,
just want one.
Yeah, but this time it's
doesn't
about
Lo-
like a god.
doesn't
Separate.
Loki fuck a lot in the comics? Am I just wrong about
Yes.
this?
No, Loki fucks a lot.
Okay, well
Specifically
there
a
you go.
horse.
And they
Not
play
typically.
with
let's
they play
make
with
this clear.
because he's gender fluid in the comics and like will change into a woman sometimes. He fucks a lot because it's just everything's on the table.
Okay, so from my no research, literally zero research, but from my understanding, Lady Loki was created through like accident, kind of. Lady Loki was like Loki wasn't born a girl. Like Loki spirit went into a girl or a woman, right? Or his soul or something like that. Like it was a
I
body
think
meant for someone
so.
else. And then
I don't know
I don't
what,
know.
what the situation is when when there's Loki and then there's Lady Loki. However, Loki
Well, I don't think
is
what-
a shape shifting being, which for most of the time
sure.
you would just say his default self is what we all know as Loki. Long black hair, the green outfit, looks like a Caucasian male, but then at any moment can appear to be a woman.
Yeah,
Sure.
because like in the comics, he can turn himself into pretty much whatever he wants.
Mhm.
He
I also
pretends
really
to be Satan at one point.
I
I
mean,
mean the
wouldn't we
horns got
all
the
if
horns.
we had that ability?
I also like the moment where he like differentiates those powers. I can't remember what the exact wording of them were, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh my shit, or oh my god, this is the nerdy shit, and I love it.
No,
like
it was
I want
fun.
that scene clipped out and put somewhere so I can
It
watch it all
was
the time.
fun to see Loki be like legitimately smart. Not like, oh, he's a
Yeah,
step ahead smart, but like he knows shit.
yeah. I got that same feeling where it's like, oh, okay, Loki, all right, buddy,
Like
good job.
I know this because it's the second episode and I'm supposed to have questions, but I also was curious when the woman whose name started the judge from the last episode,
Renslayer.
yeah, uh, when she said he's evil, that's his place in the timeline. That was the moment that I started to not trust the TVA because we've seen the redemption arc in Ragnarok and in theory and into, you know, Infinity War and Endgame.
Well, just Infinity War.
Just Infinity War. Yeah. Um, like, don't they know that he's not a bad person? Like, he's not just evil. It's like more complicated. Like, I was just very.
In their minds, they might think he's done more bad than he has good, so he's still evil. Like they probably also view good and bad or evil, whatnot, like through their own lens. Not necessarily that, oh, because he's going against what they want, they automatically view him as evil. But they might have higher standards, and like, and for lack of a better term, they're just like, he's
Yeah.
done enough bad shit, so he's always supposed to be that person, that god of mischief. Because hypothetically, we also don't know, had he not died in Infinity War, and things just went back to him and Thor, would he have betrayed him again at some point?
I'm going, oh my god, I understand now why Thor finds this annoying. I was like, yeah. This is the fear of facing yourself as you learn. You go, oh, this is why I irritate people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which this show asks or makes me ask so many questions about time and chaos and psychology that I don't necessarily need at 6 a.m.
I'm here to kill
Like,
chaos.
well, it was just like I really liked, and I think that's part of the reason I like the show so much, is I like that conversation they had where Loki was like, by what you're describing to me, nothing matters. But you guys are seeking a world where it's just everything's planned, and don't you think that's boring? And like they got into this whole conversation about free will and whether or not free will exists in the MCU, and it's just like a really interesting way to pose it. And like I'm into going into that kind of like big scale thought process. I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah. I still never seen it as it's like there's not free will, but just that like when you look back at a life, it it appears to be planned, and at some point it is set in stone. Like if you take any one of your ancestors, in their moment they had the ability to choose things, but when you look back and you look at the choices they made, that is what it is now, and it can't be changed. So to people
Yeah,
living outside of time, they know what it's supposed to be. I don't think it means that you don't have the free will.
But in the show, they said that it only can be that one way, and if you vary from it, they go in and change it. That it has to go the way the timekeepers have decided it's going to go,
Well, only if there is
or
enough of
then
a
they change
change.
it.
Only if there's enough of a change that it's going to branch off. I think that there's smaller changes that can happen. It depends on
But
the
that's
butterfly
not
effect.
how Mobius phrased it, though. He was like, they decide, the timekeepers decide exactly what's happening, and they're sitting right now deciding how things will go for the end of the world. And it has to go that way, or we have to go in and make sure it goes that way. Which is also why I don't trust the TVA. That really freaks me out. There's no being in existence that should have that much power.
I'm sorry.
Like,
Even our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
there's no good
there.
way for me to answer that.
No, there isn't. I also Loki figuring out that Lady Loki, let's just assume it's her for a minute, is hiding in apocalypses because it's kind of like that's a natural reset. Him going to Pompeii and then just standing on the cart speaking Italian. I don't know why, but it got me. It was fucking hilarious.
I love the people's reactions. They're just looking at him like, what the hell is happening?
No one
What is
freaked out.
happening?
And then the
Well,
volcano.
That volcano back there, it's about to erupt and kill you all. And they're like, huh?
What? I also like him turning to Mobius and in English going, "We are like from the future, technically, right? Like that's. Am I wrong?" Like I was like, "Thank you for asking the questions I need answered."
Yeah, in that scene, that's a good point. But in that scene, the only thing I think of was that guy who was like, or Loki's like, "You're gonna die," and that guy's like, "My goats."
No.
Oh, my goats.
Yeah.
It's fun. But no, I like that angle too. I was just thinking about that before you brought it up. How Lady Loki hides in apocalypses. I was like, oh, that might be the coolest sentence anyone's ever said.
Yeah. However, it also reminded me, I always forget that Alabama is not landlocked. When they were like, oh, in 2048, there's going to be a hurricane that like wipes out this town in Alabama, I was like, how is are we really saying that climate change is going to be so bad in 28 years that Alabama's going to be like near water? And then I was like,
oh no, it's
it's by water already.
It's coastal. Just you hear about the beaches in Florida and the Carolinas and New England, and no one ever talks about Alabama's beaches. Probably
This is
for good
going to
reason.
sound so bad, but the thought I had was, oh, MTV has a show called Florida Bama Shore that takes place on the shore of Alabama, and
So
still forgot.
To pivot us off of Alabama, I think I'm gonna bring up. Okay, so when Lady Loki, we're gonna call her Lady Loki for now, right?
Now.
Okay, for now. When she sets this event that we don't really completely understand off, everyone in the TVA like rushes to undo that or rushes to fix that. If the TVA is outside of time, does that leave the TVA like unguarded? Because to me, that's her plan. So now she can go to the TVA and there's like no one there to stop her from doing whatever the hell it is. Because if they literally the entire like compound rushed to stop what she did,
all of the Minutemen would have left. So all that would have been left would have been like the guy from last week or the guy that Loki took that like juice box from to pour on the salad, like. And what are also in that scene when the guy started freaking out was like, I have to call like our boss, and he starts dialing a rotary phone. I was like, this is why rotary phones are inconvenient. Is because you'd be done dialing if it was just a normal phone.
So Loki was trying to, I'm gonna assume he was trying to trigger her. He was like, hey, we could team up and we can control, the TVA ourselves. She's like, that's not what I want. She said that she wants to do something so big it gets the attention of the timekeepers. Not the TVA, but the timekeepers themselves.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like if you take over the TVA, that's going to get their attention.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, to me, that was either the goal or it's like a part of the goal, is getting everyone out of the TVA.
Yeah.
Everyone quotes.
Yeah. And if nobody knows where the timekeepers are, starting at the TVA is the good first step to finding like them and getting that like audience with them. So like I could understand her wanting to just like bust in and be like, it's my office now.
There's something about the show that just like reeks of like, it's just interesting. Like I don't know how else to put it, that like every scene, because the way they're like structuring it, like the mystery behind it, like they kind of tell you what's happening, but they don't tell you the whole thing. Like, it's not like, oh my god, who is it? What's happening? They just gave us Lady Loki. Like, so like the mystery isn't exactly like they're giving you the answers to the mystery, just not all the answers, and they're giving
Yeah.
it to you faster than you expect, but they're doing it in a way that they're weaving the narrative a little differently than I'm used to, and I kind of like it.
Yeah. I also liked in 2048 we have Roombas. It's
Yeah,
30 years in
weird.
the future, but we still have a fucking Roomba.
Vacuums have gone extinct. It's just Roombas now. It's like a super Roomba. Like you click the button on top and it transforms into a bigger Roomba and just.
It's like a robot, but then
It's
just
really
its
big messes.
legs is a vacuum. Yeah. I saw screenshots on Twitter of when all the branches were happening. The little bottom kind of ticker, it shows Earth, it shows Titan, it shows Asgard. It's Ego, yeah. I think it specifically showed New York City, actually. But it was like in years that for Marvel wouldn't... Actually, New York City was like 1947, so like kind of... No, even then, that's like nothing in Marvel is that important there. It's like the years more seemingly random, but...
Hear that? New York's not important. He said it. He said it.
I just meant like any significant thing.
Any significant thing never happens in New York. You heard it. He said it twice.
You're right.
Good lord. Okay. Since we keep saying Lady Loki, I'm just gonna call her that, and we said it early on, like, we'll discuss it later. Can we discuss it just like really
Yeah.
quick?
Sure.
I don't think it's not Lady Loki, but I'm not convinced that it is.
It could be a combination from like both lines. Like it's Lady Loki, but it's also Enchantress kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like inspirations.
just because it is Marvel and it's Disney who have more money than God, they could get a woman like a black wig. But I'm also like, she could just be doing this to manipulate. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know who it is, and I don't have a preference either way. Like, if it's Lady Loki and she's got this plan or whatever, that's fine. If it's Enchantress trying to steal his identity like she does in the comics, like, I think both storylines would be cool.
What just popped in my head is I agree with you, but what if it's neither? What if it's, because we see that she can just like touch someone and like put her consciousness or whatever into someone else and still be doing other shit.
Yeah.
Because we see her like setting up all those devices and still controlling the other body. Whether that's the same mind or she like splits herself or whatever. I don't know. Regardless, but what if that's just like, or what if that is just Loki, the variant Loki, putting himself or herself into another body and they're just residing in that female body? Maybe the Enchantress thing and the Lady Loki thing is all a misdirection.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, it's a really weird place where like I'm not like, I don't want it to be this. Like, whatever they're setting up, I'm okay with, because like they've set it up in such a way that it all makes sense.
Well, yeah, because we know little to nothing about her actual motivations behind this. I know I said that already, but it's like all we know is that like her end goal is to get the Timekeeper's attention.
Yeah. And the entire like TVA just left after what she just did, so I think she accomplished that.
Yeah.
So we know from the trailers that like Loki goes like variant, like he like manipulates the time, whatever the ability to go back through time, because he has that like base and he has like a bunch of, there's like that arcade game that like got back ordered and got taken out, and he has that in his little base. Like from the trailers we saw like the DB Cooper scene, like just a bunch of weird like hints at the fact that he does go bad at some point, and he has this little base in the trailer. So if I didn't see the trailer, I wouldn't think Loki like does that. Like I wouldn't think our Loki that we're following throughout the story would do that. But because of the trailers now, I don't know how they're gonna weave like his direction and then her direction. Like I don't like. Did they go to the same place?
Well,
like I don't understand.
I could also see the trailers showing these shots that, out of context, look very villainous. If that makes sense.
I'm not even necessarily saying villainous, but yes.
So, I thought about that this morning watching the episode, specifically the shot that was in most of the trailers that was Loki wearing a Loki for President button surrounded by all these henchmen, and then the henchmen turn on him. And I was thinking this morning, we don't know that that's Earth 616 Loki.
Sure.
And like, I feel like now I can't say anything about the trailers because I don't know who that is. Also, why is Loki running for president is the first question that comes to mind.
Well, hold on. Let's hear what he's gonna do. You know, let's hear his tax plans and let's give him a fair shot.
I'm just saying he doesn't seem like a democracy guy.
I don't think he's letting anyone else.
He says that in the first episode that humans are meant to be controlled. Yeah.
I don't know. I've never not known so much about a show and been completely okay with it and not concerned about where it's going.
Wow, just gonna forget about WandaVision, huh?
I had concerns about WandaVision. I was afraid of certain things happening that ended up not happening, but like I was concerned that they were going to, the biggest one being that they were going to introduce Mephisto too early and he would lose his like
Cool
I'm
factor.
literally the devil like type thing. But with this, like I think it's really interesting and I keep going back and forth on whether or not I want to see other Marvel character variants in the show.
Sure.
I mean, seeing them for like a split second and stuff, like that's cool. Bringing them into like, oh, now this is the person, or like, or even them having like a main focus for like an entire episode, I think can just it's gonna feel gimmicky if it happens
Yeah.
more than once and without any real significance behind it. I know there
Mm-hmm.
is that other shot in the trailer where it looks like New York. You see Stark Tower in the background, and it's very. I think we've seen two where like one is very purple and the other is very orange, and there's someone sitting on a rock that a lot of people have assumed is Natasha. Like if
Is that the one that looks like New York? I thought New York was the one where it looks like it's been fucking decimated and it
yeah,
looks like
yeah,
something out of
it
Planet
is.
of the Apes.
It's
That's
destroyed.
not
But
orange, it's gray.
I remember seeing a purple tinted shot and an orange tinted shot.
There is an orange tinted shot and there is a purple tinted shot, but I don't think those are New York in the background. Where everybody thinks it's Natasha, that purple shot of the chick with the red hair.
Oh, you don't think that's New York?
No. It looks like where they got the Soul Stone.
Yeah, it
In
looked a lot
Endgame.
That's
like.
also possible.
Nope.
Yeah. But what I mean is, regardless, there's a lot of people are expecting that we might be seeing Natasha based off that shot. If that goes somewhere and that's important and it's like the one time they do it, cool. But like I don't want us to, from now on every episode be like, alternative Marvel character of the week type thing, which I don't think they're going to
Oh,
do.
I don't want that either, especially because we're getting What If in like a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, we are.
Which, by the way, having
Can't
Loki
wait.
be the intro show to that is like really good
Perfect.
marketing.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the characters, like a lot of the original MCU characters, got such good endings to their story in Endgame that I would only want to see flashes. I wouldn't want to see like full storylines. I'm just curious if we'll see like flashes of other people.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could see them doing a variant or whatever you call it, a different version of what's his mother's name? Frigga or something like that.
Frigga, yeah.
I could see her making an appearance. I don't think they would do anyone else, honestly, unless it's just like a one-off thing.
And I think Frigga could be a really interesting one to
Mhm.
have Loki be able to have that moment that Thor had in
Yeah.
Endgame, especially because the way the movies paint it, and maybe this is just me, it looks when I watch the MCU that Thor was always closer to Odin. He loved his mother and like would die for his mother, but he was always a little bit closer to Odin. And Frigga kind of like Loki was her sweet baby child.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Where they had
Like,
a more special relationship,
yeah.
partially because he was so disconnected to Odin. Whereas like Thor had a good relationship with both, Loki did not have a good relationship with Odin for the most part. And I think she knew, or he knew that he was different, but never knew about the frost giant thing for a while. And then
Mhm.
she taught him magic, and that's what they really bonded over.
Yeah.
And I think where it's not painted that way in Thor 2, but in when he sees his mother die in the first episode, it's painted as you did that by accident, but you did that. I think he's really gonna need that final conversation. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just from a cinema, like how something is filmed, that close up of his face where you could see the tears welling up when he read about Asgard being destroyed and no one surviving was fucking incredible. Incredible acting. The way it was lit was so cool. The way it was shot,
Yeah.
like that was such a good like just like moment of like fuck.
And
Like
They would put Go on.
I've never seen a camera capture an actor welling up like that, where you literally saw the tears form in his eyes. Like it was just such a cool shot.
yeah,
I agree. I think it would have been really cool if that was released as a teaser trailer. Like if it was just like that 8-second clip.
Yeah.
Except all the other trailers we got. Like I would if we just got that clip, I've been like, what is happening? Like this is really cool. Like I don't understand this angle because at that point I would have been like, it's not the Loki we know, it's the other Loki. So why is he emotional? Whatever.
And it also shows that, you know, he said, I don't remember if it was earlier or before that moment. He goes, "Oh, as Guardians, they're all foolish and gullible, and that's why it's so easy for me to trick them." But he still loves them. Like those are still his people. It's still his home.
Yeah.
And going back to the Frigga thing for a moment, is remember in Endgame, she knew right away that Thor was from the future, and she said that I have eyes that can see beyond or something like that. So if he does get to meet Frigga again, and she can kind of see outside of the scope of time, she might be like, maybe she's used in a way to help him figure out where female Loki's or Lady Loki's going.
Yeah.
There's something that we completely missed in the first episode that I'm remembering, and from doing research, it seemed like is her name Sharon Carter? Maybe not. Agent Carter, whoever Cap goes back to be with.
Peggy Carter.
Peggy
Carter, thank you. Peggy Carter was basically at the TVA. Like, there's a scene where you basically see Peggy Carter in the background. Yeah. Like, it's not confirmed that that's her, but Peggy Carter is there. Like, I'm telling you, Peggy Carter was in the first episode.
There's a YouTube video called "I watched the first episode of Loki at 0.25 speed."
I've seen that guy. He does it with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that gives me a hint that, like, oh, they know about Cap. They know about Cap going back. So where's Cap? But yeah.
They're just making sure that he doesn't do anything he's not supposed to. They're like, no investing in companies, no warning people of wars or assassinations.
No, they're punishing him. They're like, we're taking Peggy. You can't go back in time again, or blah blah.
Oh no!
Fucked would that be if in the show they revealed he didn't get an ending with Peggy? He just lied to Sam.
You see them just burst into that house where they're dancing and just separate. Oh god, no, that's horrifying.
It's so bad. So many people would lose their minds.
Can you imagine how devastatingly cool that scene would be, though? Like, it replays that scene of them, like, having a moment, and then 1 second later, the people bust in. Like, my eyes would be glued to the screen. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh god,
that's cinema. That's cinema. Again, we talked about this before. I'm glutton for that type of punishment. Like, I hate to see it, but I love it at the same time.
It's so funny.
So I just want to read some. Wild. I'm gonna read some of Brett's thoughts because Brett couldn't make it to this episode, but yeah, he said these were some of his thoughts. He absolutely adored the dynamic between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. It was somehow better in this episode, which I couldn't believe considering how good it was in episode 1. Lady Loki, I'm surprised she enacted her plan already in episode 2. Definitely thought that was going to be more a 4 or 5 type event. I agree with that. Like I said, it's like we're just getting the ball rolling. Mm-hmm. I think that whatever her goal is not the main focus of the show at all. I think it's leading to something bigger.
Yeah, I think what she's doing is going to bring it to light. Like, it's going to bring the
real issue of the show, yeah.
I think she's going to expose the TVA is up to some sketchy shit.
He absolutely adored the Pompeii scene, which we already talked about. I kind of just want to go back and watch it just to see him yelling in Italian. Love the Catch Me If You Can vibes from this episode.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can see that.
And he said the show's music is incredible. Natalie Holt is killing it. And he said what you said, Austin. He definitely wants to see Loki and Mobius on a jet ski by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think he had one more note too on the very bottom, or was that the last note? Like he added a second thing.
Oh, he said the theory of the timekeepers keeping the sacred timeline isolated from the multiverse as opposed to the current. He's thinking that it's the only time. Hold on, I'm trying to just figure out how he's saying this.
Sure. Basically, I think he's saying that, like, the timekeepers have their one timeline. It's not the timeline. Like, there's a theory that's not timeline. The timekeepers are making it the timeline.
Yeah, that, like, they're choosing to make this the sacred timeline rather than accepting that there are multiple. Maybe every timeline has their own set of timekeepers. I don't know.
They're outside of time, so they are the timekeepers. Who knows? I don't know. Hopefully that will be answered. It probably won't be. We'll get the timekeepers like the very end, and that's it. You're a bright light. That's it.
I'm also thrilled about this because the guy who created the show and was one of the head writers on the show is the one writing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I don't think I can get more amped for that movie than I am was before, but like it's so well done.
Yeah.
Like just as a television show, it's just like phenomenally well done.
Also considering like,
Um,
we said that there's already going to be a season 2, and even though WandaVision had like a solid ending, yet it's going to play into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I wouldn't be surprised if this show doesn't ends on kind of like a cliffhanger of its own.
yeah.
Or at least without like whatever the big issue happening isn't over, because it has to be taken care of by Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so that was more my thought process with it, is that whatever's going on in this season will be resolved by the end of the season, and that we're going to see they're going to build to something else for the second season.
Yeah. It also makes there is also possible that the reason why Doctor Strange has to be the one to kind of clean up the mess in Multiverse of Madness is because maybe the TVA no longer exists the way it does. I don't want to get further into that because I've read some potential leaks for No Way Home, so I don't want to spoil anything. And I also don't know how. This is like within the realm of possibility. It's only concerning the villains we know are going to be in No Way Home and how they get there, but I don't want to touch on that.
Yeah.
But it would make a lot
No,
of
I get
sense
that.
the TVA isn't there anymore, and that's why you have all this shit happening.
Yeah. Ooh, sorry, there's a fly in here and it's driving me crazy.
Well, don't kill it. You might mess up the sacred timeline.
I mean, that fly was more active in this podcast than I was the last minute, but there was a hateful comment and I wanted to reply. So, hi, we made it on YouTube because we have hateful comments now.
Yes.
Oh God. Can I go? Can
I
go
said
use
I
my
said
ship?
Sea of Thieves was a dying game, and apparently that's not true. So here we go.
How dare you insult Sea of Thieves?
I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
It's okay, Austin. You're just a big fan of Skull and Bones.
Big fan of that game that doesn't exist anymore. Big fan. Big fan.
I mean, do we have any?
Okay.
Do we have any final thoughts on episode 2?
The main.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Austin. Oh,
Yeah, I will go. I will go.
yeah.
I will jump. I just think I mentioned this earlier, but I think the way that the narrative is being weaved is really clever. It's because they're telling us exactly what's happening, but yet we have no idea what's happening. It's like I don't know how to explain it. The overarching stuff is in the background, and it feels like they're telling us what's happening, but they aren't. And there's something about the nuance in the writing that I really enjoy. So I just wanted to stress that fact. Go ahead.
The main Minutemen, the lady, the woman that's with Loki. Fuck that lady. I don't like her.
Oh.
She's fucking annoying.
Yeah,
Fuck
she
that
took his
lady.
knives away.
She's the source.
I just like wait. What do you mean? What?
She's the one helping Lady Loki. Guaranteed.
Sorry,
No,
I got distracted by you saying she's the source for the stupidest reason.
I use odd words at odd times. My vocabulary is very tiny. I'm a stupid man.
I'll explain off camera like why I got distracted by you saying the source.
Okay, but because I mean, I thought that was a joke, but it could be true because when she does wake up, she is kind of like flabbergasted in a way that was a little uncharacteristic. Like I understand she was like, "What the hell happened?" But there was more to it than that.
Well,
It seems like to me.
Go ahead.
What's not real?
What do you mean?
C20 kept saying it's not real. It's
What's
not
right?
real. What's not real?
Timeline, maybe. I don't know.
That's all I could think of is that the timeline's not real. That Loki going into the TVA agents like heads reveals to them that like it's not real, and that it's all a lie.
Yeah, maybe the timekeepers don't exist. Maybe it's
Well,
just someone manipulating
I
it.
thought she was panicking because she told them something that they shouldn't have.
She did. She told them where to find the
to find the
or how
timekeepers.
to find them. But she also said thousands of times before she
my
opened
God,
it up
it's
with
not
that
real.
line that it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. And she said,
Yeah,
I
when
want to
they
go home.
open the door, she's just muttering to herself.
But we also
it's not
know
real.
that
It's not real.
we also know that Loki can make illusions, so she could have put her in an environment. She could have made her kind of have like thinking that something was happening.
Sure, I just feel like you don't follow that up. If that's the case, you don't follow
Yeah.
that up with I told them where to find the timekeepers kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I love the show. I'm
It's
super
great.
stoked for episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
So excited for next week. Wednesdays are the best now. All right, everyone. Well, that concludes our episode on episode 2, the variant for Loki. Catch us next week where we discuss episode 3, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and get all our other E3 videos and gaming videos going on. Till next time, bye.
Bye.